तिलक लगा के मिट्टी का तू बाजी आज लगा ले, ओ तिलक लगा के मिट्टी का तू बाजी आज लगा ले, तुझ में जो चिंगारी है उस शोला आज बना ले। जान लगा के खेल खिलाड़ी, ओ जान लगा के खेल खिलाड़ी, साथ हमेशा स्पोर्ट्स इंडी, शान बढ़ा तू रहे अगाड़ी, जीत की भाषा स्पोर्ट्स इंडी। स्पोर्ट्स इंडी, स्पोर्ट्स इंडी, स्पोर्ट्स इंडी, स्पोर्ट्स इंडी, स्पोर्ट्स इंडी, स्पोर्ट्स इंडी, स्पोर्ट्स इंडी।
Hello, people. Welcome back to the Sportsindi World of Sports, presented by and produced by Miti Group. So, हर बार हम हर वीक एक स्पेशल एपिसोड के साथ आते हैं जहाँ पे हम स्पोर्ट्स के बारे में बात करते हैं, बट इस बार हम बात करने वाले हैं जर्नलिज्म के ऊपर, स्पोर्ट्स जर्नलिज्म के ऊपर, that how they play an important role in this field. And this is why we have brought a special guest, and his name is Abhijeet Kulkarni, sir, sports journalist, talent scout, and an author also. Welcome, sir.
Hi, Vishal.
Welcome to our show. And also, I like to introduce to our support system, जिसके वजह से सर हम ये एपिसोड कर पा रहे हैं, ये मैसेजेस जा रहे हैं बाहर तक. मिस सुप्रिया बर्वे मैम, फाउंडर एंड सीईओ स्पोर्ट्सिंडी, एग्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर ऑफ बडवे ग्रुप. Hello, ma'am. Welcome back.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
First of all, I'll request you to welcome our guest.
Yeah. Good evening and very warm welcome to you, Abhijeet ji, on this Sports Indie platform. And we really means like sports journalism is something different subject and not been discussed on many platform. Maybe you may have attended your conferences and your forum, but apart from that, like sports journalism is very rare subject which was been discussed on social media. That is what I feel. So that's why we want to explore this new subject and your journey and your experiences and how that has helped to evolve the sports industry. So that is what we are
Sure.
eager to listen from you. And very
Sure.
warm welcome to this Sports Indie platform. And thank you for accepting our offer and being be here today on this platform. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure to talk about the subject that I love myself to, and has been my life for about 2 decades now.
Yes,
Sir, as we were talking about, your introduction, like as I introduced you, I just found out that you have been in this journalism like from past 20 years. So,
Yeah.
like my first question would be like, how did you come in this field of journalism?
So I think when I started as a journalist, I did not start as a sports journalist. Very few people during that period ever started as sports journalists. So my biggest passion in life used to be travel, and I started writing travelogues, and that is how I became a journalist. But then I took some formal education in journalism because I wanted to pursue it as a career. So initially, for 3-4 years, I was more of a political journalist who was also covering sports. And that time, I used to be part of Press Trust of India, where you got that avenue to cover various things. So Press Trust of India, when you are a new journalist, you're allowed to cover different things because you need to be a jack of all trades. But in before the 2004 Athens Olympics is when I became a sports specialist because I was a sports person and somehow I was very good with the rules of the sport and the technical aspects of the sport. So when an agency starts covering sports during the Olympics, you need somebody at the back end who knows what is happening where, and that is how I became a full-time sports journalist in 2004.
Okay, that is great. And ma'am, the way he is like, starting में इतना नहीं था, तो my second question would be like, सर जर्नलिज्म के तो बारे में बात कर ही रहे, but स्पोर्ट्स जर्नलिज्म भी एक आज बहुत important topic है. And my first question to you would be that what important role does sports journalism play in this whole sports ecosystem, to motivate people, and what is the main important role of that journalist in that field?
So I think, like any journalist, the most important part of a sports journalism is also to give visibility. What happens is that television, or if you see the high end sport is on television. So once you become a star, you are on TV. So in that sense, sometimes you don't need that journalist, or you don't need that support of journalism. But when you are becoming a player, when you are part of a journey, you need certain kind of, what do you say, acknowledgement. And I think a well written sports copy, an understanding of a sport, and the development of a player, when you see that written somewhere, that acknowledgement also motivates you to go further, do do a lot more. Because what happens is, at every stage, if there is an acknowledgement, then those supporting you also put in more effort. It's a situation that sport journalists can actually help players with.
And Supriya ma'am, your opinion on this, like how does a journalist play an important role in the sports ecosystem? So your opinion, I would like to know about it.
Yeah, thanks Vishal for this question. So, what I feel, sports journalist plays an effective and constructive role, and I think they play rather a leading role in development, awakening public conscious, and raising public awareness by spreading novel ideas and maybe sports related 360-degree information. So, as Abhijit ji just shared that. Maybe once you are in at the national level, or once you are at the Olympic level, at that time all you are covered by all media, and then you are on TV, then you are in newspapers, then you are everywhere, and now you are in OTT also. But maybe till 4, 5, 6, 10 people they who are a top rank in the country, they were always given focus and they were known to the public. But I think even though the 11 player onwards, or maybe fifth player to 10th player onwards, they also they are putting the best of their efforts, but they are like unsung heroes. And I think journalists can play they are playing a very bigger role over there to for bringing them to the social platforms and making them creating their journey as a sports hero. So I think it is really important that sports journalists are giving publicity to these upcoming and emerging players. So also I want that India is transforming, and its sports infrastructure and its ecosystem. So it is all evolving, and it is showing a exponential growth since last 2 decades. Means like there is acceptance as a sports career from the parents, from the society. So things are changing. The mindset towards accepting a sports player as celebrities, their contribution to the country, it is being accepted in last 2 decades, and accept well as means well acceptance is there from society. So I feel for that change, yes, journalist has played a very good role. It's like that has also that acknowledgement what he just shared, that has also create some awareness in the public, in the society, and now people and parents of sports persons or emerging players, they have started thinking in a different way. So what I feel is like yes, they are contributing much, and with their small encouragement, suppose say someone is playing best and he's performing the best, but if his name appears in print media, so that gives lot of motivation for that player. See, because after all, appreciation, felicitation is plays very important role in any part of your life. Maybe you are a singer, you're a musician or whoever you are a sports person, of course. If you are a good good orator, so whichever the field is there, getting that acknowledgement, getting that felicitation always gives you motivation and
Motivate.
inspiration. With that inspiration and in motivation, you can you can perform, you try your best, more best. Suppose you are reaching to 100%, so someone may add 1% more to achieve that publicity or
Yes.
that fame. I mean, because journalism is what they are giving fame to the personality. So name and fame always plays a bigger role, and I feel that is important for anyone in the means whoever is the person in the society, that gives most happiness to that person.
Ma'am, thanks to you that at least there will be so many people who would be interested like in sports field, but maybe they wouldn't be playing, but at least they can be a sports journalist also. It has like given them a door also that if you're liking this field, at least be a sports journalist. You can bring some other people up, and genuine journalists today like sir, it is very rare because nowadays it's like we also know how there are many people who work hard but they couldn't get there, but it is only because of the journalists they get there, maybe the social media, because of them we are here. And thanks to you that ma'am, you are giving us a new idea to our audience also to make a career out of it. And again, back to sir, like we were talking about the major role of a sports journalist in a field also, and bringing up any sports person. Sir, what is the role of a sports journalist? Like, if I ask you personally,
Okay. What is the sports journalist in the organization or in terms of coverage of event?
coverage of a event also and in an organization, overall idea of your personal thing.
So sports is a specialized beat in any media organization. So unlike the political journals and all, who basically only do reporting, sports in a way is a specialized beat where you also do reporting, you also do editing in newspapers, you also make design those pages. So you have to be a versatile personality who does all that. So you cannot just be a desky who sits in office. You have to be on the field, but at the same time you have to come back and also think of the presentation aspect of the newspaper. So in that way it is a more versatile job that you do. uh, in an organization also, there are different beats depending on what sports you cover. Also there are beats where you have some, like, ideally you start by covering grassroots sports, you understand the sport, the ecosystem, and then you start international coverage. So that's the journey that you take. But as a sports journalist, you are a specialized journalist who only covers a certain aspect of the whole newspaper, and that is why you also are considered an expert in that subject. So you are not just reporting, because the best part about sports journalism is that if you go to a journalism school, the first thing you are being told is to be objective, and the five W's and one H, the like who, where, what, and be a linear writer in your copy. Whereas in sports, you are actually analyzing the performance of a player when you are writing a report, which means you are also subjective. That also allows you to write in a more flowery language, because then you are also giving your views. So you have a if you have a language skill, then as a sports journalist you have more avenues to write. At the same time, there is that differentiation that you can be subjective. So you may have scored a century and I can still say that it was scratchy, or I can say it was brilliant.
So you have a power, sir. And like, ma'am, the way sir is like it plays a very important role. And by bringing this a new idea, because I'm hosting this series like from past many weeks, and the every week I get a surprise by you. And ma'am, my first and last, I wouldn't say, but this is a personal question, like this series, how it will motivate our kids to become a sports journalist like sir. Ma'am, it's mute, it's mute.
So our series has been covered with all related points to sports ecosystem. Like even you have mentioned it. We had discussion. We had chat about. Uh, Mentorship. We call all coaches, most of the coaches. We have discussed about diets, nutrition, sports psychologists. So even we have some government authorities who are working at sports handling sports portfolio, and they have just given the insight how what are the innovative steps government is taking to promote sports. So we always look at our guest who can just highlight different avenues related to sports. So I think this ecosystem will definitely helpful for this upcoming sports person or who are interested to make his or her career in sports journalism. See, last time also we have a very good personality who has done excellent in just sports journalism. We have today Abhijeet ji, who is like who has contributed well for the sports industry, specifically as far as print media and digital media is concerned. So uh, we are more thinking like creating employment or career opportunities as related to sports. So though actually we are not a media who is giving the employment, but at least we are catalyst over here. We are trying to do a role of catalyst to promote sports, and we are bringing different personalities to sports in the platform so that people will get some different insights about sports, and they can think of making any of the things, any of the avenues what we discuss as a nutrition coach, mentor, psychologist, or a journalist as their career. So maybe this is what is the only thought for this series, and also we are providing possible information so these people. What I mean to say about possible information. See, Abhijit ji has spent lot many years of his life in sports journalism. So he has lot many experiences, how sports industry work, what are the challenges. Most of the times we come across that players want to grow, but they are short of funds. So these kind of subjects, or some people or some children has talent, but they are not getting opportunities. So that is what how the things are like. Uh, that is that is going or evolving in the sports industry, and people like Abhijit ji, who has such a vast experience, they are sharing their experiences hardly in 30 minutes. So a journey of long many years explaining in 30 minutes, that is what is the skill, and that is what is the inputs, that is what is the crux, the people or emerging journalists they can take from his experiences. Because see, you can read books, yes, that is also possible, but reading book, it takes lot much of time. Here in hardly 20 minutes, hardly 30 minutes, they are getting lifetime experiences. So that is what is the beauty of this program. That is what I feel always.
Acha, ma'am, you said very true that it gives an immense pleasure that सर ने बुक लेके वहाँ पे कितने लोग वहाँ पे वो बुक रीड करते होंगे, पर आज हमने 30 मिनट में एक्चुअली सर को यहाँ पे बुला दिया, हमने टाइम ले लिया एंड सर ने हमको सब बता दिया एंड वहाँ पे हमारी ऑडियंस को भी इजी हो गया अगर और सर जो भी क्वेश्चंस आई एम आस्किंग यू, इट इज ऑल वी हैव गॉट इट फ्रॉम आवर ऑडियंस ओनली दैट ये हमें पूछना है एंड थैंक्स फॉर योर नॉलेज योर शेयरिंग। तो अभी हम कंटिन्यू करते हैं वापस, मेरे पास मैं सवाल बहुत करता हूँ सर, बट फिर भी हमारे पास थोड़ा टाइम है एंड माय नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन वुड बी सर व्हेन आई वाज रिसर्चिंग अबाउट द स्पोर्ट्स जर्नलिज्म आई जस्ट सॉ दैट देयर वर टाइप्स ऑफ स्पोर्ट्स जर्नलिज्म। मतलब मैंने सुना था कि जर्नलिज्म में टाइप्स होते हैं कि चलो स्पोर्ट्स जर्नलिज्म हो गया और वी कैन से अ पॉलिटिकल जर्नलिज्म, बट देयर आर टाइप्स इन स्पोर्ट्स जर्नलिज्म आल्सो, so like what it is, like give me some idea about it.
No, it's unlike what you are saying that sports journalism is about. There are types in journalism like sports journalism, business journalism. it's not a type as such. So as a sports journalist, you have to do all that, but there are different aspects through which you can cover. So you can cover sports through visuals, which is a visual story, obviously. Or today with the digital media coming up, where you do in cricket a ball by ball commentary, or you do a live commentary of a sports event happening. So that is a very different aspect of sports journalism, where you need to know, and you like, okay, if you're watching a match, you are listening to a commentary, these guys are typing out the commentary. So it's a very specialized way of reacting to sports. So that is one thing that has digital media has added, where you can do a commentary on sports through your watching, and let people who are not watching the match. It's like we used to, when ma'am was growing up, I was growing up, probably we used to hear the commentary on radio and understand what was happening, because there was no live TV. But which is something that if you are traveling, you can read that commentary on phone and you can understand what is happening. So that commentary aspect has been added. The expert aspect has been added to sports journalism, where you analyze a lot more than just writing what happened. So that is what digital media has added to our sport. So those two aspects have been added, but they are not types of journalism. It's just more of specialization. So once you become a specialist in a particular sport, you can actually write or explain as good as a sports person or a coach. So those are specializations, but I won't say they are types of journalism. The types of journalism or the technique of journalism remains the same. It's just how you are presenting it with the advent of the digital media.
Sir, whenever we talk about some career path, we need to know about that where we have to start. So जैसे sports journalist है एक, so हमारी basic question हमारी audience को क्या रहेगा, that what course we have to do or what curriculum we have to follow, कि हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा या क्या degree लेनी पड़ेगी if we have to go to the sports journalism thing. So just a basic question about the audience thing and your opinion on that.
So the sports journalism course, I don't like. There are certain organizations who have started sports journalism specific courses, but most of us who became journalists in the 2019-90s, we basically did a regular journalism course. We learned the techniques of journalism and we applied it to sport. For me personally, you can do this or you can do a sports journalism course. For me, if you want to become a good sports journalist, your knowledge of the sport has to be excellent. You are as good as that coach, not in teaching but in analyzing, in understanding the concepts of the sport. So your knowledge of the sport is extremely important. Then journalism, as a way of doing journalism, the techniques remain the same, whether you're doing business journalism, you're doing sports journalism, or anything. So ideally I would say do a journalism course. If you want to specialize in sport, you can understand the sport, you can learn about the sport, and all those journalism aspects which you have learned can actually help here. Today there are specialized sports journalism courses which are focusing on teaching you how to do live blogs, how to do live commentary, because there is very little time to do all that. So how to do all that, how to understand administration of sports, because you are reporting on administration of sports. You are not just reporting on sports, you're also reporting on what is wrong in that sport, what are the technical aspects that need to be improved on. So these specialized courses are now focusing on teaching you the nitty gritties of sports administration. So that is the next step, but I still think one should start, if you want to start becoming a sports journalist, start by learning the basic tenets of journalism and then specialize in sports.
Sir, as journalism, like we are talking about it, you have also worked with major big newspaper companies, HT, Mumbai Mirror. Sir, next question would be that what do you prefer? Like, there is a basic mutual idea that everybody wants. There is a two different thing, print media and electronic media. So what do you prefer and what do you think in today's generation, like in today's time? Which one is like more motivating, or more people are going through that? Because in your time, maybe when you would have started, electronic media wasn't a big thing. Print media was a thing. And now if you see, all is coming on the social media is taking place, now print media is going little down. Maybe I would be wrong, but your opinion as a journalist, I want to
No, I think yes, like you said, during my time, print media was the primary thing. Today, more than the electronic media, the digital media is taking wings. Electronic media, in terms of television, sports journalism, has reduced drastically. But in terms of digital media, sports journalism is growing and I think taking wings. So both, in a way, digital medium or print medium has the same tenets of journalism. Digital medium is faster than print because in a newspaper, if something happened at 10 o'clock, I had enough time to write it at 6 o'clock in the evening, think of what to write, how to write it. In digital, I don't have that time. I have to be quick. I have to write it immediately after the event is over. So in that way, digital is challenging. I have done both, like for Scroll or today now when I write columns for various other media houses, I have to write them faster. But like I said, both are fun. For me personally, the fun is to be on the field and writing. There is another aspect which has grown due to digital media is where people sit in their houses, follow things on TV, and write analysis of it. Where the direct interaction with the players, coaches, or the system is not there. It is basically what you see on TV or on the net. Personally, maybe I'm a bit old school. I like to be on the field, understand what is happening, and write about it.
That's a good thing, sir, and it's a learning thing. Maybe your opinion would be different from others, but maybe it would be beneficial for you. So you would be at right at your point, and audience will get to know about this. And last question, like, no, I'm so sorry, sir. I've already taken much time of yours. So my last question would be, you are an author also, sir, with a sports journalist. So your whole story, in short, if I just say how this story came and where you decided that you want to write a book, and before going, what message do you want to give our youth if they want to make a career in sports journalist, like as a sports journalist or as a journalist?
Okay. So when I was asked to write the book for the first time, I told them, sorry, I can only write as long as 700 words. A book needs 70,000 words, and it's too difficult for me to write. But the reason I wrote that book, it is called the Gopichon Factor. It is about the journey of Indian badminton in the last 20 years and how it has risen to where it is today. It's also because I was deeply involved in that sport, not just as a journalist, but like you mentioned at the start, I'm also a talent scout. I work with a lot of young kids, helping them make a career in sports. And basically, in rural Maharashtra, we adopt a lot of players and help them become sports persons, make a career in sports. So that is why I was a lot involved into that system, understanding it from the back end, which I couldn't have written it in my news reports. What happens behind the scenes, and that is what made me write that book, just to chronicle what goes into making a champion. What you see on the television is just 5% of that effort. There's a lot that goes behind, and I thought it is worth chronicling what happened in these last 20 years. Everybody sees a Sainas in the winning, but what went into making them those champions was very important, and that is why I ended up writing that book.
Thank you so much, sir. Like, this is so inspiring, and maybe it would be inspiring to so many people as me also as an anchor. कल जाके sir मेरा anchoring no, but I can try in journalism also, because a journalism also is an anchor, like a journalist, because his speech and all is very clear. He knows what time. He can't take a break. He can't just say on a live TV that मुझे नहीं जम रहा, and that's a very tough job, and you are doing that. So it's a really great thing, and I really appreciate you. And sir, before going, I'd like to request ma'am to thank sir, and yeah, and after that we'll sign off. And ma'am, over to you.
Yeah, Abhijit, very nice, and definitely now I will also like to read this book of about Gopichon Factor, and yes, badminton has been a great journey since last 2 decades specifically. Earlier, people were pursuing it, means like Nandu Natekarji was there, but it was not much well evolved in India. But now, since last 2 decades, yes, it has been evolved like anything. Maybe that also with that understanding, this Gopichand factor will give us very different insight to look at badminton as a game, and how what efforts, this is like what you said is really true, that whatever we are seeing on a ground, those efforts are just a outcome of, say, uh, outcome of huge efforts or great efforts that player is doing, maybe years and years together. So maybe 10 years, 11 years, because many times it happens that if parents, mostly if they want their child to grow in the sports area, the child starts practicing that particular game or sports very early, at the age of 5, at the age of 6, and then gradually it evolves. And then I know, means though we are seeing few faces at, say, national and international level, but there are huge competition is there available in the society, and just to surpass that competition and to excel, you need something that extra effort. So maybe you are getting 98%, but for that 2% you need something different, which we can you have to prove yourself as a radically different in that, we can say like that. So that maybe this may be an insight to emerging players. And thanks for being a part of Sports Indie today. And definitely, your journey, your inputs will be definitely help the new players, and definitely they will learn something out of it. So thanks for being a part of this program. Thank you so much on behalf of Sports Indie.
And
Thanks, Vishal. Thanks, Supriya, ma'am.
thank you too, ma'am, because you are the one who is bringing every experienced person in every episode. And because of this, I like to tell you, ma'am, as an anchor, also, I have learned so much from sir. Maybe as a sports person, there are so many youth who will be inspired by these episodes which you are bringing. So, big thank you from our audience to you and Miti group. And ma'am, you all are the people who inspire our youth. So thanks to you and thank you, sir. And we'll see you soon. And I request every audience of our that please read this book of sir. And I'll also read sir. And I'll keep you updated with the review thing that I have learned so much, because in 30 minutes I've got many knowledge about that thing. And I would be for sure would be glad enough to read that book. So this way we are ending, signing off. Bye, audience. We'll meet next with the next episode with the new experienced person. Let's see what ma'am gives us surprise. So yeah, take care. Bye. Thank you.
Thanks, Vishal. And it was a pleasure chatting today with you, Supriya, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Vijay.